welcome back. My little tidbit this morning, our head elder of our church thinks this is the best one of all, but it's a precious one. The Matchless Pearl. A heavy splash was followed by many ripples, and then the water below the pier was still. An American crouched on the low Indian pier, his eyes riveted on the place where a stream of little bubbles rose to the surface from deep under the water. In a moment, a black head appeared, and a pair of bright eyes looked up. Then the old Indian pearl diver was clambering onto the dock, grinning and shaking the water from his shiny, oiled body. As nice a dive as I've ever had, Bambo, cried David Morris, the American missionary. Look at me, Sahib, said Rambo, taking a big oyster from between his teeth. I think it'll be good. Morris took it, and while he was prying it open with a pocket knife, Rambo was pulling other smaller oysters from his loincloth. Rambo, look, exclaimed Morris. Why, it's a treasure. Yes, a good one, shrugged the diver. Good? Have you ever seen a better pearl? It's perfect, isn't it? Morris had been turning the big pearl over and then handed it to the Indian. Oh yes, there are better pearls, much better. Why, I have one. His voice trailed off. See the one? See this one? The imperfections, the little black speck here, this tiny dent, even in shape, it is a bit oblong. But good enough as pearls go. Your eye is too sharp for your own good friend, lamented Morris. I would never ask for a more perfect pearl. It is just as you say to your God. To themselves, people look perfect, but God sees them as they actually are. The two men started down the dusty road to town. You're right, Rambo, and God offers perfect righteousness to all who simply believe and accept his free offer of salvation. Can't you see that, my friend? No, Sahib. As so many times before I have told you, it's too easy. That is where your good religion breaks down. I cannot accept that. Perhaps I am too proud. I must work for my place in heaven, or I will always be uncomfortable. Oh, Rambo! Behind the missionary's work were years of prayer for this man. Don't you see? You'll never get to heaven that way. There's only one way to heaven. And see, Rambo, you are getting older now. Perhaps this is your last season of diving for pearls. If you ever want to see heaven's gates of pearl, you must accept the new life God offers you in his Son. My last season, yes, you are right. Today was my last day of diving. This is the last month of the year, and I have preparations to make. You should be making preparations for the life to come. That's just what I'm going to do. Do you see that man over there? He's a pilgrim, perhaps to Pompeii or Calcutta. He walks barefooted and picks the sharpest stones, and see, every few rods he nails down and kisses the road. That is good. The first day of the new year, I also began my pilgrimage. All my life I have planned it. I shall make sure of heaven this time. I'm going to Delhi on my knees. Man, you're crazy. It's 900 miles to Delhi. The skin will break on your knees and you'll have blood poisoning or leprosy before you get to Pompeii. No, I must go to Delhi, and then the immortals will reward me. The suffering will be sweet, for it will purchase heaven for me. Rambo, my friend, you can't. How can I let you do this when Jesus Christ has died to purchase heaven for you? But the old man could not be moved. You are my dearest friend on earth, Sahib Morris. Through all those years you have stood beside me. In sickness and want you have been sometimes my only friend. But even you cannot turn me from this great desire to purchase eternal bliss. I must go to Delhi. It was useless. The old pearl diver could not understand, could not accept the free salvation of Christ. One afternoon, Morris answered a knock at the door to find Rambaud there. My good friend, cried Morris. Come in, Rambaud. No, said the pearl diver. I want you to come with me to my home, Sahib. For a short time. I have something to show you. Please do not say no. The heart of the missionary leaped. Perhaps God was answering prayer at last. Of course I'll come, he said. I leave for Delhi just 1 week from tomorrow, you know. And Rambo, they neared his home 10 minutes later, said Rambo, as they neared his home 10 minutes later. The missionary's heart sank. Inside, Morris was seated on the chair his friend had built especially for him. That happened when I was teaching the top intelligentsia in Korea one time. I told a doctor, no chairs in the room, but one low chair for me, the teacher. And I was very uncomfortable because it was so low. But anyhow, Rambo had a chair made especially for him, where many times he had sat explaining to the diver God's way to heaven. Rambo left the room to return soon with a small but heavy English strong box. I have had this box for years, he said. I keep only one thing in it. Now I will tell you about it. Sahib Morris. I once had a son. A son? Why, Rambo, you never said a word about him. No, Sahib, I couldn't. Even as he spoke, the diver's eyes were moistened. Now I must tell you, for soon I will leave, and who knows whether I will ever return. My son was a diver too. He was the best pearl diver on the coast of India. He had the swiftest dive, the keenest eye, the strongest arm, the longest breath of any man who sought for pearls. What joy he brought to me. He always dreamed of finding a pearl beyond all that had ever been found. One day, he found it. But when he saw it, he was really been underwater too long. He lost his life soon after. The old pearl diver bowed his head, and for a moment his whole body shook. But there was no sound. All these years I have kept that pearl, he continued. But now I am going, not to return. And you are my best friend. I am giving you my pearl. The old man worked the combination of the strong box and drew from it a carefully wrapped package. Gently opening the cotton, he picked up a mammoth pearl and placed it in the hands of the missionary. It was one of the largest pearls ever found on the coast of India, and glowed with a luster and brilliance never seen in cultured pearls. It would have brought a fabulous sum in the market. For a moment the missionary was speechless and gazed with awe. Rambo, what a pearl! That pearl, Sahib, is perfect, replied the Indian quietly. The missionary looked up quickly with a new thought. Rambo, he said, this is a wonderful pearl, an amazing pearl. Let me buy it. I would give you $10,000 for it. Sahib, what do you mean? Well, I will give you $15,000 for it, or if it takes more, I will work for it. Sahib, said Rambo, stiffening his whole body, this pearl is beyond all price. No man in all the world has money enough to pay what that pearl is worth to me. On the market, $1 million could not buy it. I will not sell it to you. You may only have it as a gift. No, Rambo, I cannot accept it. As much as I want the pearl, I cannot accept it that way. Perhaps I am proud, but that is too easy. I must pay for it or work for it. The old diver was stunned. You don't understand at all, Sahib. Don't you see? My only son gave his life to get this pearl, and I wouldn't sell it for any money. Its worth is the lifeblood of my son. I cannot sell it, but I can give it to you. Just accept it as a token of the love I bear you. The missionary was choked and for a moment could not speak. Then he gripped the hand of the old man. Rambo, he said in a low voice. Don't you see? This is just what you have been saying to God. The diver looked searchingly at the missionary, and slowly, he began to understand. God is offering you salvation as a free gift. It is too great and priceless. It is so great and priceless that no man on earth could buy it. Millions of dollars are too little. No man on earth could earn it. No man is good enough to deserve it. It cost God the lifeblood of his only son to make the entrance for you into heaven. In a million years, in 100 pilgrimages, you could not earn that entrance. All you can do is accept it as a token of God's love for you, a sinner. Rambo, of course, I will accept the pearl in deep humility, praying God I may be worthy of your love, Rambo. Won't you accept God's great gift of heaven, too, in deep humility, knowing it cost him the death of his son to offer it to you? Great tears went rolling down the cheeks of the old man. The great veil was lifting. He understood at last. Sahib, I see it now. I have believed in the doctrine of Jesus Christ for 2 years, but I could not believe that his salvation was free. Now I understand. Some things are too priceless to be bought or earned. Sahib, I will accept this salvation. I found this is an old tract I found in my archives from Pilgrim Tract Society in North Carolina. The tracts were free as the Lord supplied the means. Anyway, we're delighted with it. God has paid a dear price for your life, for mine. We need to accept it. God bless you.